So hello, welcome to our phase number 2 of our project, Loose Foam Casting Process. And the materials to use for this phase of the project are the following. We're going to use our previous setup that we built in the phase number 1, some cans in order to melt more aluminum, also the previous melted cupcakes, sand, the bucket in order to make our loose foam casting, and some cutting tools to cut our piece, and some glue in order to create our shape. The first step was to melt again. So the first part was to put our setup again, put some newspaper and some fire in order to melt these cans, then add some charcoal in order to create or to initiate our meaty metal foundry. Finally, after some cans that we melt, we created more cupcakes, pouring it in our tray in order to produce new cupcakes that we're gonna use to do our loose foam casting process. And finally, we got 5 cupcakes. So we made a couple of tries. Our first try was with foam or foamy. So what we did was to get a template for a knife from internet pictures, and we started cutting our template so that we can, after cutting it, trace it in our foam, and after tracing it, cutting it. In order to create our shape, we need multiple of these foamies that after that we're gonna glue them together in order to give it volume. And we also have different kinds of foamies, since we have different layers. So we have 2 layers that we're gonna put together to build the main body of the knife, and 2 other layers that are the edges of our shape that will create the handle effect. So after putting it together and having our final shape with its respective riser, we start pouring some sand in our bucket, more or less half or even less of the bucket. And after that, we put our shape, our knife, our foamy knife, into the bucket and then fill with sand. It was important to maintain the shape straight in order to ensure that our casting was also straight. That was kind of difficult in this part of the process. And once we had our shape sunk into the sand, we created a volcano or a little mountain with the help and the use of water, so that aluminum maintains there and doesn't go to the edge of the bucket. And so we did our first try after melting the cupcakes, and the results were not favorable since the riser was consumed really fast and didn't get to the main body of the piece. So this trial was our first fail. However, we decided to make a second try. In the second try, we decided to use a different kind of material, unicel or hielo seco in Spanish. So we used the same template and we cut it the pieces, but now in unicel. The different layers, the main body of the knife and also the smaller ones that we're gonna use to give the handle effect. We cut them precisely and then put them together with some glue. And after that, we define just the details in order to achieve a successful knife shape that's smooth. We created a hole in our bucket using the same sand in order to put our unicel piece there. And then we put our piece and cover it with sand, leaving space just for the riser to come out. And again, sprinkle some water in order to create our volcano. We create our volcano, and we sprinkle again some water. And no, we're not blessing the piece, praying for it to work. And then we put our metal foundry, our wonderful and incredible foundry, to run again. Melt the cupcakes again. And then finally pour the molten aluminum into the volcano. And after waiting for a couple of minutes for it to solidify, we came out with our beautiful, incredible knife that has several layers, and that's smooth. So this is the process to create a lost foam casting. Thank you for your attention, and don't forget, Star Wars rocks.